The journey into success. What you must know. Many of us struggle with what we want to become, and we experience lots of apprehension about the future. Much as it is true that the future is unknown, we all need to build enough faith in God and in our abilities to meet the future with adequate levels of assurance and courage. This is necessary if we are not to get despaired and dejected about life. Faith in ourselves cannot be empty, and this write-up is intended to provide us with the insights needed for us to build that faith and to guarantee our success in life as well as our usefulness or value we bring to our world. Know your value. The most important of what we must know is that we cannot bring value to our world when we do not believe that we have value. We must each be convinced about the fact that just being alive gives us value, and this value is inherent and does not have to be earned, not by our appearance, abilities, talents, possessions or achievements. Moreover, we must guard against measuring our value through the perception of other people, such that we measure our worth according to how others treat us. Having our self-esteem in place is the foundation to genuine success and well-being in this life. Work on your character. Secondly, we need to settle the issue of character as a prerequisite for success in life. By character I mean having not only integrity but also perseverance beyond the initial excitement about doing something worthwhile. Continuous improvement of our character and abilities is what justifies our continued existence, and we delay our success in this life when we delay that process unduly. We need to recognize that none of us had a perfect upbringing because we did not have perfect parents and did not grow up in perfect environments. The implication is that we each have deficiencies in our characters. Too many of us are afraid to accept that we have character deficits because we believe we are better than others and also hate to think of ourselves as imperfect. These deficiencies are the impediments that obstruct our march to success. It is a scary thought that we had a less than perfect upbringing because it goes to the very foundation of our personality. However, facing up to it would mark the beginning of a lifelong journey of self-discovery and self-reclamation through which we can experience growth in our lives. We cannot blame our parents for how we have turned out, and we cannot attribute our wrongs to those who provoke us or urge us on to do wrong. Character transformation occurs when, having acknowledged our imperfection, we identify, not only from our relationships and by learning from others but also by reading, the specific shortcomings we have, and then make efforts to deal with them. It is not what you do when everything is going well, but what you do when you are under pressure that determines who you truly are. Our progress is highly dictated by the extent to which we can exercise self-control, and put our disruptive emotions in check. Many people, because they never manage to master their emotions or to postpone the gratification of their wants, have had an event or series of events change the courses of their lives permanently in a negative way or destroyed other lives. Whole nations have been destroyed because of people like that. For example, if you are provoked and you react in anger, hitting someone on the head with an object and he drops dead, you are called a murderer. If in a moment of lust you force yourself on a woman, you have become a rapist just like that. If you are unable to resist the temptation to dip your hands into the national kitty when the opportunity presents itself, you become a corrupt individual. We have a responsibility to ourselves to identify our weaknesses and work on them rather than expect people to accept us as we are. This is what self-centered people do. We must all strive to enhance our human qualities and attributes because it is what matters to other people, and not our pretty or handsome face or great figure, neither is it our possessions, abilities or achievements. Value people. It is important for us to realize that the purpose of our lives is not necessarily happiness but instead it is growth. This growth happens when we commit to maintaining harmonious interactions with people and explore ways to be of service to them. This is necessary because people are the reason for our existence and they also are the source of our success. Our progress in life would constantly be hampered if we do not settle it in our hearts to care about people, make the effort to cope with them and constantly seek ways to be of service to them. Preoccupation with self, our wants and feelings constitutes one of the biggest hurdles to our health, psychological well-being and success. A me, myself and I attitude in life makes one prone to physical illness and mental distress and illness. Our character difficulties are symptoms of self-preoccupation. When people come into contact with us, they must leave with a sense of having been positively impacted. This takes an ability to keep our focus from ourselves. It is our commitment to be of service to others that drives us to work on ourselves and improve on our abilities. Our value as people is based on what we bring to others rather than on what we can gather for ourselves. How attractive our disposition as human beings is determined by the extent to which we are other-centered. When other-centeredness becomes a part of our consciousness, then our humanity becomes complete. Those who come to this realization enjoy a better quality of life than those who do not. Grow your self-efficacy. The next point of call for each of us must be a focus on our self-efficacy. Many of us were brought up in ways that kill our self-confidence. We all need to believe that we have what it takes to excel and succeed in the inside of us. Whether or not we exploit our potentials is determined by the messages we have believed about ourselves. If we believe in negative messages, the zest with which we live is low and we see ourselves as victims of life circumstances rather than as architects of our own destinies. We need to develop self-efficacy, which refers to that sense of competence and faith in one's own abilities to have an impact on one's circumstances and environment. It enables optimistic rather than pessimistic thinking. Self-efficacy also enables belief that no matter what the circumstance, something can be done to achieve the desired outcome, as opposed to the belief that events are beyond our control and effort is futile in the face of obstacles, which leads to one giving up altogether. According to the great psychologist, Albert Bandura, without a resilient sense of self-efficacy, people are easily overwhelmed by adversities in their efforts to improve their lives and that of others. It is one of the most important qualities that we end up with so little of, due to the ways in which we are brought up. Without self-efficacy we lack self-motivation, optimism and self-control. In the absence of self-efficacy, our willingness to tackle life's challenges is low, and the result once again is we seeing ourselves as victims of circumstances and at the mercy of benevolent others. Low self-efficacy makes us prone to varying degrees of depression, moodiness, which leaves us with feelings hopelessness and helplessness, as well as difficulty in controlling our negative thoughts. It also produces irritability, short-temperedness, aggressiveness and reckless behavior, among others. Value the power of your mind. Being optimistic and harboring good thoughts about our future is another prerequisite for success. We cannot keep generating and nursing negative thoughts and expect good things to happen in our lives. Thoughts have power, and the stronger the positive thoughts we keep dwelling on, the faster our success emerges. God has given each of us the power of imagination and thought. Whatever we imagine or think, if we do it hard enough and are prepared to pay the price to work it into being, see it come to pass. Our imagination has limits, and that should tell us it's a gift and we must leverage it for our own good. When we have no doubts that things would work out no matter what, we do not bother making excuses, because excuses are born out of a perception of hopelessness. We need to create our own future in our minds, believe in it and work daily towards actualizing it. Albert Einstein refers to imagination as a preview of life's coming attractions, and Napoleon Hill said imagination is the workshop wherein are fashioned all plans created by man. Everything that man has created by mankind all began in the mind of someone before they became reality. The imagination is a tool for changing our lives. In the same vein, through fear or suspicion, our mind can be overrun into acting irrationally. It's possible to destroy our lives just by our pessimism. Job said, "What I feared has come upon me, what I dreaded has happened to me." Job 3:25. We cannot feed our minds a diet of negative imaginations and thoughts of what failure would be like and expect our lives to bring forth desirable things. Great accomplishments in our lives must necessarily be preceded by imaginations of such accomplishments. David imagined victory before going into the encounter with Goliath, and he put that imagination into words in 1 Samuel 17:46-47. 46. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head. This very day I will give the carcasses of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. 47. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands. He chose to focus on these thoughts rather than on the huge frame and pedigree of Goliath, and so was not intimidated. Neuroscience has discovered the power of focused, dedicated and consistent mental exercise to alter the brain. We all are assailed by negative imaginings from time to time. We need to be neutral to such thoughts rather than fight them, allow them to induce fear in us or beat ourselves up for having them. We just need to allow them to float away as we observe them in an impersonal fashion. When imagination and excitement are mixed together, obstacles escape our focus or lose significance as our courage rises. We need to practice working up excitement about the possibilities that we imagine. Positive imagination, however, cannot emerge in a vacuum but is fueled through input, or suggestions, from sources outside of ourselves, including people, books, movies and other sources of thought. We must therefore be selective in which of these sources we choose to expose ourselves to. Increase your service capacity. Our useful thoughts must guide our daily actions as proof that we believe in their power and value them. We must not live with our useful thoughts without actualizing them. The link between our thoughts and what we actually become and achieve is the acquisition and deployment of the relevant knowledge as well as the right attitudes and needed skills. Attitudes such as perseverance and diligence among others are important for us to have. We must be willing to acquire new knowledge and to learn from our mistakes and difficulties, otherwise we cannot make progress. Success is founded on increasing our capacity to be of service to others. That service must be based on the possession of superior knowledge and skills and can only be of value if it based on a genuine love for people and we possess resilience and perseverance. Our skills are the raw materials required for us to be able to serve others. Skills in analytical thinking, researching, writing, communication, word processing, coding etc. are important for us to develop on our way to success. Be curious. The next thing that we should cultivate is curiosity. Day in and day out ideas flit in and out of our minds, and we come across stuff that we do not understand or about which we have little or no knowledge. We must not devalue these things because if we are careful and diligent enough to interrogate them, our lives would be greatly enriched. Fortunately, the internet is available to provide all our queries. The capacity of our brains to store information is limitless and there is no need therefore for us to restrict our acquisition of knowledge. Every concept, every word, every idea and every thought we get exposed to must be interrogated diligently. This way we give ourselves the opportunity to discover and enhance our interests, abilities and talents. Let God be the center. Last but not least, it is important to know that life without God at the center is pointless. There is so much in life that we being human are unable to make sense of. When we know God up close, however, we are in the position to make peace with the circumstances of our lives, to put wealth and success in their proper place and to cope with loss and adversity. Our love for God becomes the basis for our love for our fellow men. All things work together for our good when God's hand is in all the affairs of our lives. Through our relationship and knowledge of Him we find purpose and life ceases to be just a series of activities but turns out as a masterpiece under God's hand to bring Him glory.